don't know if you can really see this video or the screen, but basically, I gotta turn it around so you can see it because it would just defeat the purpose of the game. So, for a period of 30 days, 28 to 30 days from the date that you're born, your birth date of any month, or whenever you decide, when an individual speaks of the idea of Christ, the Krishna, when that spiritual energy is utilized for a period of 28 to 30 days, really preferably 30 days. What happens is, at the root of an energy source, that frequency is able to revitalize itself and raise from the bottom parallel of the vertebrae, which would be the spinal cord or the hip, the tailbone area, up into what the ancients considered the pineal, but it's pineal. You feel me? So it says, as the Jordan River empties into the Dead Sea, so the spinal cord terminates in the section of anatomy known as Sodom, the region in which Josephus referred to as the Lake of Sodom. Jesus was not a savior until he was christened, baptized, or anointed of John, not by John. John, or aloneness, is the oil or the ointment that secretes from the root area of the spinal. You feel me? Going up 33 parallels of the actual physical body's vertebrae. Now, I know people say, well, I ain't got the money, if I'm gonna be vulgar a little bit, but if an individual can have a physical orgasm, you feel me? That's the same thing. That's the same energy. So to abstain from utilizing that energy source as a functionality of physical formidable pleasure, when an individual is able to utilize that energy and that energy source to recreate physical structures of that oil, remember the John, that oil, it is going to circumvent and repopulate itself from one rendering to an increase. And it may not be very much if you feel like you're not starting with that much. If you say, for instance, if you got a bank, right, and you got $1 in the bank. Say, for instance, fuck it, you got a bank and you got $5 in the bank, and every time you bust a nut, you lose 50 cents. You feel me? You lose 75 cents. You lose $1. So every sexual encounter that you partake in within a 30-day period is a oil or a secretion that could be utilized for the raising to what would be called the Christ or the Krishna or the holy colostrum. It says the sacred fluids from the colostrum, one yellow and the other white, is the milk and honey referred to in the Bible. The children of Israel, having been given the promise to return to the land flowing with milk and honey. All right. So when it says the one from the yellow, the one from the yellow and one on the right, it is the both cortexes of the brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, the logic brain and the what is it, logic and in the emotional, logical and emotional formalities of the brain, where you get the concept of yin and yang, masculine and feminine. You feel me? So when that oil secretes and raises itself from one level to another, now that energy has to be focused. And a lot of people say, well, I already don't have sex. Okay, well then that's one thing that is working for you in your period of abstinence. You feel what I'm saying? But there's so many orgasmic experiences, such as food. You feel me? Certain foods is an orgasmic encounter. When you eat a cupcake, you are intaking enough sugar and enough uh, 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 um, um, how do you put it? Sugar and or sweets, glucose, that is enough for, I don't know, a blast, you know what I'm saying, or coffee drinkers. Now, I wouldn't suggest individuals who drink coffee to just abstain from that for a period of 30 days to try to raise the frequency. This is more about an oil that secretes itself and recreates a spiritual energy. So another slide that I got, the pineal gland, the Joseph, secrets, the milk, the purity, the Mary, the secrets, the honey, both from the same source in the colostrum, what is considered the Santa Claus. So when we think about the aspect of the Virgin Mary, you know what I mean, that potency, that energy, that concept, that essence, because the Virgin Mary is the one who is considered a essence of the actual physical connotation of the body. You feel what I'm saying? Never has a physical organ. You know what I'm saying? It's connected to an organ, but it is as a whole. You know, different parts of the body represent different things. Like the heart is a representation of the sun. You feel what I'm saying? The hands is a representation of the Gemini. You know what I mean? Like the eyes is representation of the Aries or the head. You know, the phallic area is representation of the Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? So. But anywho, Mary, the essence, recreates itself from that from that cortex, raising itself through the 33rd parallel of the body of the vertebrae to the holy colostrum within a 30-day period. Wow, I feel like I just said so much. The two sacred oils travel down the solar plexus via the semi-lunar ganglion, the pneumogastric nerve. The pneumogastric nerve. So basically, this oil is gonna go from here. You feel what I'm saying? Even if you feel like, man, I ain't even got the money. Alright, well, in that 30-day period, that meditation is only going to increase whatever that energetic force field is to recreate an essence of spiritual energy within the region. So it takes 30 days for the sun to circle the moon, or the moon to circle the sun don't circle shit. For the moon to circle the sun, right? So in 30 days, this is what's taking place. If that energy is being recreated as an essence of purification, remember the Mary, you know what I'm saying, utilizing the energy to the oil of the actual physical secretions of the body to be baptized in the Jordan and or the John, the cerebral cortex. So the psychophysical germ, the fruit of the tree of life, is born in the solar plexus, the manager. So even if an individual, I know people who are homeless who can get pregnant, bro. You understand what I'm saying? I know people who are homeless, they can bust a nut, my nigga. I don't mean to be vulgar, but I'm keeping it 100 so it can make a lot of sense. That energy, that germ can repopulate and go from a dormant state to a useful oil source where the land is flowing of milk and honey. You know what I'm saying? Not honey and milk per se, but as a concept of what they spoke of in Exodus. Okay, so the Ida, the red, the Pingala, the blue, the two nerve fluid, where at the crossing of the medulla oblongata, the crucifixion takes place, where it rests for 2.5 days. Okay, so when they say the Christ, the Christos energy had to be crucified first, That crucifixion is the abstinence, the abstaining from, and then it goes from every 2.5 days it is raising or is increasing from a chakra period, from perhaps a red and the ida to the pingala, you know what I'm saying, and it goes from place to place as it increases throughout the physical structures of the body. The sacred oil returns after the yeah, I know how YouTube do. The sacred oil returns after the crossing. The crucifixion enters the cerebral Golgotha. I've never really pronounced it out loud. The cerebral Golgotha, the place of the skull, the fluid crisons, and is refined 1,000-fold. So that fluid is going to actually increase its own self. It's going to do its own work. Now it's going to require, because times are so different, it's going to require that a separate diet is maintained. You feel what I mean? Now, when I said that I had cancer for a period of time, what I learned was that there's something considered a Daniel fast, right? And the moment that I figured out that I had cancer, I had to figure out exactly what might have been the triggers. And all I could think about was I had been smoking cigarettes and I had been eating. I was doing Uber Eats at the time, so I had been eating like whatever, you know what I'm saying, like burgers, steak, this, that, meat, just chicken, you know what I'm saying, just all kind of different foods. And I noticed that whatever it was that I was partaking in on a um consumption basis might have been the cause for a infraction within the healthy flowing and frequency of a body that lacks dis-ease. Now, not to say that anyone cannot lack dis-ease, but maintaining a Daniel fast first, because first I had to go through the Daniel fast process as a cleansing and a purification alongside abstaining from. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go through the Daniel fast process before the veganism could even take hold. Before I could even be vegan, a nigga just had to go on the Daniel fast and really, 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 really just break their body. You know what I'm saying? I knew I was lifting weights and running at that time too. Once I figured out how to really put it all together, I had been lifting weights and running a lot at that time too. So I knew I wasn't gonna be able to just completely fast, straight water fast. I could have, but then I would have had to render and sacrifice lifting weights, exercising, and doing it two different kind of ways. You see what I'm saying? Multiple streams. You know? So this is a concept of the brain, and I'm gonna run through it real quick. Just I had some really wonderful master teachers who spoke on these things, but the cerebral is where this energy, this oil is actually reproduced and creates a power fluid for the body to um regain its conceptualized structure. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like the process that a mother goes through when the baby's forming from um, uh, the first trimester and learning of the pregnancy to growing a lung, to growing a kidney, to growing a heart, and growing um, um, tendons and tissue and muscle and flesh and fingernails and toes and hair. This is the same process that the body goes through in a 30-day period and an abstinence from anything that is considered a stimulant. And the most powerful the most powerful stimulant the individual experiences is sexual stimuli, because that's where most of a energy for whatever period of time is extracted from the body, on the basis of those fluids. You feel what I'm saying? The pituitary gland, which is a very powerful gland that utilizes the third eye. But I know people like, man, look, I can't even dance that dance right now. I ain't gonna get to. I ain't. All right, we're gonna keep it moving because I can understand what. But I want to show just a few slides so you can understand where we going with it and why. where I'm coming from with it. The cerebral hemisphere, that's where that oil is going to circumvent itself and um become a internal nucleus for what the whole body's mitochondria would be considered. So now, um, when this oil, how this is very important is when this oil reaches. Remember, we was talking about the yellow and the right, the logical brain and the emotional brain, to conceptualize one thought process and or frequency increase. The thalamus receives this holy oil, this oil from the colostrum as it is crucified and crosses the Jordan. Remember the John and increases. It goes from the thalamus to the optic tracts, where it then is nuclearized and becomes a fluid in the concept of optics, the visualization. You know what I mean? So um this is very powerful information, and I'm half doing it because it's probably not even gonna apply to as many people as it do it don't apply to. But I'm putting it out. You feel what I'm saying? Because I don't want the blood on my hands if I didn't at least say and express everything that could be done, that was possibly could be said on the basis of increasing from one place to another. Now I don't know how it works, uh, but um, I was down bad during that period of time of my life. And man, look, people who know me know I was down bad. I was down bad. Like, I'm gonna tell you a story. I was uh I was watching this show, and this is interesting. But I get a call and they tell me, hey, turn here on this channel and I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do. So it was individuals in Jamaica, and they got this kid, and I was down bad. I was down bad, and they showed me how frequency in life works. They went and get this kid, right, this little Leo kid, and they said, bring so and so, bring her ear now, you know. And they said, take your walker, give the child a walker, give it to the baby, she drank it. I feel the energy, so I'm like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's major. So I'm figuring out how the frequencies work. So I'm like, wow, okay, boom, that's how it works. So from that point, I had to figure out what was going in the system and what was going in the body, what was affecting me from what systems and what consumptions I'm receiving. Because if I am a vitality, as is that Leo baby was, then the frequencies are in a connection of a diagnostic conceptuality from a greater universal plane. So anywho, these are the bones in the spinal cortex that leads to the brain, right? So we got the coccyx, which is four brains. Four bones. And remember, every 2.5 days, a portion of that spinal fluid increases. So every 2.5 days, two and a half multiplied, and that now multiplied up the cerebral cortex in 30 days is that um, um, equation. So we got the sacrum, which is five bones. You feel what I'm saying? As that energy, that oil increases throughout the body. You go to the lumbar, which is five bones, and the thoracic, 12 bones, and the cervical, which is seven bones, and that energy moves quickly. The body is a very beautiful, very functional um thing, and it's cosmic, it's universal. So um this is entitled The Names of God. I like that. Now the numbering system is different. It's different in how it's labeled. I'm not sure exactly if that's the actual connotation, but a lot of people um are in a space where they're thinking, well, I'm not even I gotta get I'm in a delta state. This is how these frequencies are gonna move about, where there shall be an increase. I can't necessarily say because I feel like I'm speaking out of turn a little bit, but in the same instance, I feel like I'm not, but I don't know what I don't know, but what I do know is what I know. And I know what I know, but I don't know what I do not know. Okay. Uh so I'm just showing some slides. The electromagnetic field. I'm just showing slides. And here's what I thought was interesting. The microcosmic system, which lets me know if a kid was able to eat a pineapple and drink some water, and I was the receptor from this powerful frequency, then the body is able to recreate the essence of itself. Now, perhaps it's going to take each 12 of different whole beings for a period of 30 days and help raise the frequency and the Krishna within a whole conglomeracy. That may be what it takes. That may be what it takes. You know what I'm saying? Every 12, every zodiac, a very healthy um um collective collaboration of kids with the concept of consumption, and they're able to exercise and they're able to get fruits, vegetables, and different things that's gonna raise that. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know what I don't know, but I know what I know. Um, so real quick, the dopamine deficit, the serotonin deficit. That's where I was coming from with the idea that craving dopamine, serotonin, abstinence, abstaining from, to recreate a energetic force field of holy colostrum oil and or the oil of milk and honey and or increasing the 33rd parallel vertebrae of the body to increase the functionalities of the physical nucleus. You feel what I'm saying? Pleasure centered dysfunction. I don't look at pleasure. I wouldn't say pleasure is a dysfunction. I'm celibate. You feel what I mean? But I have to figure out even then how to utilize the energy for a powerful, positive source of recreational recreation of positive energy. You feel what I'm saying? So that's that. I don't know if that made sense. I hope it do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope it make a little bit of sense. But I don't know, cause fill me in for what I don't know, but what I know is what I know. But fill me in for what I don't know, because the way people are talking, like, man, I'm just doomed, but I don't want to believe that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was down bad, man. I was down bad. I was down bad, bro. Like, I don't know though, cause it could have been just spell work. It could have been, but then what's the difference between spell work and a whole entire conglomeracy being at a deficit, trying to increase the equitable value from one plane to the next? Can't that be done? Isn't that possible? Without utilizing the faculties of the Krishna, I'm not sure. Because it might be required that the faculties of the crystals of another be utilized It may be necessary. I don't think so.